Hello!
I was having such a boogie there.
Did you like that, Gareth?
That was great. That was great.
I know, right?
I
I've had so much fun playing with this stuff. It's so cool.
Oh wow! You're going to have to teach me because I need to do this kind of stuff. This is brilliant.
It's really easy to do, actually. It's dead simple to set up.
I am dead simple, so I like dead simple. To anybody watching, Nadine has found some stuff that enables us to have a real positive, upbeat studio feel, and even allow people to create messages and everything in between. So anybody watching, please do chat.
Yes, I'm using Restream to pump this. This should be going out all over the place, basically.
Good Lord.
In lots of different places. And it's really cool. So a lot of people use StreamYard to stream, but I like to be a bit different. I don't like to be the same as everybody else. So I use this product called Restream, which is cheaper and does more, and you can do all this really cool stuff.
I like really cool stuff. Really cool stuff is good.
I know, it's so cool. So hello to anybody who is watching. If you're watching, please leave a comment so we can check that the comment thing is working that we've got on our screen, because it would be nice to hear from people.
That would be lovely.
So yes, Nadine from the Wow Web, and here with Gareth this morning for a little Friday chit chat. Those of you who have caught us before will know that we tend to have extremely random conversations and go off on all sorts of tangents, and
we have a tendency to do exactly that, unfortunately.
Yes, lots of random things. Your background has disappeared, Gareth. We can see your office.
Oh no. Well, that's not okay. Look, anybody who thought otherwise, I'm afraid I do exist within an office like that. Look, there we go. I thought, oh no, it's made me all herky jerky. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, never mind. Oh, Glenn, you're very welcome. Thanks for watching. I have got a link you can use to Restream, which I think gives you a little discount. So if you want that link, shoot me a message and I'll ping you across the link that you can use, because I think it gives you like a trial or some money off. I don't know. I can't remember, but I know I've got the link somewhere. So ask me about it and I'll share it. Yeah, we normally entertain the nation on a Friday when we chat, don't we, Gareth?
I'm afraid so. It's unavoidable. We cover many topics, but it's, yes. Restream is actually going to change my life as well. I think I'm going to get on it. The old Restream wagon.
It is amazing. I absolutely love it. And I don't even use it to its full potential, because you can. I think there's different levels. Like you can edit so it streams directly on your website and all sorts of stuff. It's like amazing. It's really
now, before we get into my stuff, I want to know about how you're doing, Nadine, because Nadine has had a bit of a couple of shockers recently, and it's nice to see her bouncing back.
Do you know what? My whole life is like that, Gareth. It's like it's just like one drama after another, and I'm not one of these people that seeks out drama and thrives on drama, and I really would like just a nice, quiet, easy, fun, happy life.
Do you ever feel like putting your arms up because you think you're in a bit of a roller coaster?
I should do, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, random things happen, like. Like something random that happens, it's like it could only happen to me. Like, and this is what people, it could only happen to you. The most random things happen in my life that just don't happen to other people.
You've got to give me an example now. You've got to. You can't just leave it out there.
Well, like for instance, when I went to Turkey with my children on holiday, and my daughter had an allergic reaction to the heat and her head swelled up like Elephant Man. But then on day 6 of that, she had severe pains in her stomach, and we were going to hospital anyway because we've been to hospital every day for the swelling thing. She had to have emergency surgery to have her appendix out. In Turkey, she was 10 years old. And it basically, our 2-week holiday ended up with us staying in Turkey for 5 weeks. We were stuck there because she kept getting infections and had to stay in hospital and had to keep going to lots of different hospitals in Turkey. And then when we got home, she was still ill. So we were in our local hospital for almost 2 weeks. She had to have another operation to basically clear up and tidy out everything that they'd done, because they didn't really know what they'd done with her in Turkey and left her in a real mess. So she had to have another surgery, and then she kept getting infections after that. So she was really ill for like 6 months. But before we went on holiday, she broke a bone in her foot playing football at school. And then 2 weeks after that, she fell because she was non-weight bearing and broke her arm. So she had one foot in a moon boot, non-weight bearing, the opposite arm in a plaster, and then all that happened. So that's a very small snippet of one summer.
I've got to tell you, your daughter sounds like she should be strapped to a chair and not allowed to move very much. She sounds like a danger to herself.
Oh, honestly, and that is just a tiny little bit. When we went to a festival in the summer, we go every year, and they have axe throwing there, and she's like, "Mum, I really want to do it," and I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "No," and she's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "You would be the only person in history to end up chopping their own limb off doing axe throwing." I'm like, "No, it's not for you, darling."
No.
I know. So yeah, that's a tiny little bit. So basically, that's a very good example of my life. It's basically lots of different things that just.
Well, I'm very pleased to see that you look in the rudest of health. I don't know whether that's the case.
I feel great.
Are you well?
Yeah, I feel good. Yeah, I feel great. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yes, my daughter is still ill, but you know that's she's been ill all her life.
Is that an ongoing thing with your
Yeah,
daughter?
she's got some chronic illnesses, so she's been we've had a lifetime of in and out of hospital.
Oh, good Lord.
So
good Lord.
we're kind of used to it, but that's the norm for me, you see. So
No.
I guess not a lot phases me, and I might get down about stuff, and I might, you know, lose my shit sometimes. But I always bounce back.
Well, yes, you do.
You know,
yes, you do. I cannot.
Sometimes it takes me longer than other times, but I do come back. But yeah, I'm just used to it. Yeah, not a lot phases me, to be fair.
Well, then it's my turn to my news. Hang on.
Yes. Gareth has some exciting news. Yeah, you needed to have some sound effects ready.
So we do this. Here we go. You ready? Welcome to the news. Is that better? There you go.
Perfect.
Thank you. So I have left my old company, which was Purple Fedora, and set up my own 100% own company called Many Purple Hats Limited. Thank you. And thank you. So it's very similar. My wife has made me a golden hat band to go on my on it. So
I like it.
Thank you very much. It's very natty. And my whole focus now is helping people represent themselves better on LinkedIn, as we all know. But I want to do it so I'm running every aspect of it. So everything from the data scraping to the creation of the text, I oversee the whole lot. I also act as the copywriter as well. So I'm very much more intimately involved. And as any of my clients will tell you, I like to always work with them to make sure that we're representing them in the way that makes them come across not just in a good light, but an engaging light. So that's what I'm really about. We do a little bit of tiny bit of LinkedIn coaching. Coaching is not what I'm really about. I'm much more of a pragmatist. So if I can see a way that I can help you get from point A to point B now, I'll do so. And by the end of this call, I'm gonna bring up a couple of little tips about the creation of posts. Will that be cool? Is that all right?
We love little tips.
Oh,
we love big tips too.
Nadine, steady. Now, So guys, I did tell you it was going to be one of those. So the whole point about what we want to do is, and I'm very proud to say I'm working with an amazing lady called Andrea, who is Andrea Yanko, who actually provides a method by which coaches can build round tables, get people around that table talking about their topics, and even works with them to close them down to create sales. And which is all very well, but what she really needs at the back end is to promote her clients and herself to a wider audience. And so I've stepped into the breach, and so far, touching large planks of wood, that seems to be going okay. It's the proposition quite simply is, can we make sure that the world understands the value and the benefit and the essence up front, so that by the time they get to talk to them, it's not a surprise what they're about. It's more just gilding the lily, providing that extra little bit of reassurance. So that's what we are trying to do, and I'm very proud to be involved in that. Also, working with in another project which I want to talk to the world about, completely separate. Do you like mushrooms, Nadine?
I do like mushrooms, which my daughter finds disgusting because she doesn't like them. She's like, I don't know how you could eat them. They're disgusting. And I'm like,
do you know what the funny thing is? The world seems to be split down the middle about mushrooms. My daughter also thinks they're slimy, unpleasant nastiness, and my wife and I love them. So, but do you know what happens before you get a mushroom? The growth that comes is called mycelium, and I've just become marketing head for a company called Smart Mycelium Limited. And what we do is we're promoting how you can use this amazing substance to do all sorts of things, including eating rubbish.
okay.
So, the biggest problem in the world today, other than the fact that we're all desperately trying to kill ourselves, is the fact that we're creating so much horrible nastiness that it goes to landfill, which is all plastics and so on. But if I said to you there is a way now using mycelium, I'm not going to go into details, but that you can eat that rubbish and turn it into compost, that would resolve a lot of the issues, would it not?
Yeah. See, I'm. This is completely different to what I thought you was going to say, because I was like, oh, well, it must be something to do with getting high, and it's
No.
I'm all ears, Gareth, but no,
Well,
it's something completely different.
Nadine, we're not going to talk about your past now. No, not at all. I mean, I tell you what's even cooler about it is there is a certain process. Once again, I'm not going to talk in detail about it because we're actually going for IP about it right now to try and protect it. The process, that is. You can take the mycelium, feed it plastic, and then run this process through it, and it turns into organic plastic.
Oh, okay.
Which you can then use to replace components which are made out of single-use plastic.
Right. I'm very confused at this point. I'm not going to lie.
If you can imagine, there are lots of different uses for it. And at the moment, we are investigating the potential, the use of creating components for living walls on the sides of buildings, for replacing components in industry that would normally be single-use plastics that would go to landfill after they finish being used. All of these, because you can biodegrade mycelium, that means that it has a different kind of life.
Wow. It's so random. Of all the things that I thought we would talk about today,
well,
that was not one of them.
Look, Nadine, at least it's interesting. But the whole point is, I'm trying to live a more sustainable life. I've literally just covered my roof in solar panels. And I would say to anyone, yes, it's great being with UW, but even with UW, at some point the prices are going to go up. And
I mean, anything that people can do to, and solar panels is more of a long-term investment, isn't it? It's going to save you money forever as long as you live in that property. So it's, you know, it's not doable for everybody, but if you can do things like that, it's like, you know, having extra insulation put in and all those sorts of things. And, you know, it might be a big outlay, but it is that long-term investment that's going to save you money in the long run, isn't it?
If you're in the southwest of England, there is a grant available towards
Yes, you
getting
can
those
get
solar
some
panels.
grants. Yeah, you can
And
get
if anybody wants details of that, please do contact me or Nadine, and I'll give her the details as well.
yeah.
And you can get the solar panels either for a fraction of the cost, or as I did, for nothing.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, it's worth checking with your in your local area to see what government grants are available, because they do them for insulation and solar panels. And they also
also replacing lamps which are inefficient. They'll do that for that as well.
There was a one running for boilers as well, but I don't know whether that still is. I know it wasn't at one point, but
well,
maybe
ours is a weird kind of boiler. Our boiler is actually blown up recently.
Oh,
We
no.
have no
Okay.
heating at the moment.
That's not nice. But
Well,
yeah,
no, we're very lucky because we had when I bought the place, first thing we did is make sure it's all perfectly insulated, so we don't need very much to heat it. We have one open fire downstairs, and I got one heat pump. It's a small one, but I use it to heat the downstairs if I need to. I just leave it running for about half an hour to an hour, and the downstairs is warm, and it stays that way for the whole day or the evening.
Nice. I love an open fire. So nice.
I know. Do you know what I call it? Fire TV. You've got the ritual of building it, and then you stare at it with the little flames licking away at it.
Yeah, there's something so warm and cozy. Obviously, it's warm because it's a fire, but you know, it's. I kind of said that and thought, what? Of course it's fucking warm.
Nadine, you're allowed to be a prune. Yes, Michael, it is nature's television. I love it. I can stare at it for ages. The thing is, so we get settled back in the seats. I haven't built the fire, and I haven't gone back to my seat. I'm just sat there by the fire on one little stool, just staring at it like that. I just love it. It's amazing stuff. And by the way, here's a tip for anyone who's got an open fire and is looking to buy wood for their open fire. Wood typically for about 300 to 400 kilograms of wood, which sounds like a lot, but doesn't last that long. Well, you charge up anything up to 300 odd pounds. I found a way of getting massive amounts of wood, which is seasoned wood, ready to go. I know this will sound weird for you, right? Yes, it is hot in so many ways, Michael. But what I was going to say, the way to get this wood is look for sawmills and see if you can buy their offcuts. I did exactly that, and I got 900 kilograms, which is the best part of a ton, for like 140, 150 quid. And I'm probably. I mean, they dumped it in a huge, ginormous sack outside the front of my house, which is like. It's not going to move until I've got to. And
I'm not going to say anything about your huge, enormous sack, Gareth.
Yes, only one sack, my friend. Which is no. Before anybody says it, doesn't make me lopsided. But a open fire is wonderful. Open fire is wonderful. Are we coming towards the end of barbecue season? Are we at the end of barbecue season?
Well, I mean, technically, you could have a barbecue any time when it's not raining, couldn't you? Technically,
I want to have a small barbecue, and I've got all this wood, and I've got a wood-fired barbecue ready to rock. I think I'm going to have to. Rude, not.
Just do it.
So Nadine, hang on. Where in the world are you based? I remember you telling me, but
so I live in sunny Clacton-on-Sea in Essex.
Now, when the sun is out, that place is lush.
It is. A lot of people kind of you have put a bit of a downer on Clacton, but it's it's still such a popular place for people to come to.
But
Like,
hang on a moment.
heaving on a hot sunny day, it is heaving down here.
Yeah, but I think it used to have a really bad reputation, and these days I think it's undeserved. I think it's a lovely place to be.
The thing is, right, in my opinion, there are good and bad parts of every single place,
Ain't that
every
the truth?
single village and town. There are, nice and not so nice people, nice and not so nice houses and places and shops, and that's just the way it is everywhere. And I've always lived around here, and I really like it. I feel very comfortable and safe.
That's the thing, you see.
Living
People don't
here.
realise it is actually quite a safe place to be.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. There's crime everywhere, but if you compare crime rates to somewhere like in London, do you know what I mean? It's
No,
like
it's no comparison. No comparison.
exactly.
I've got to ask you on. I think I know a guy who owns the tea rooms near the front.
Paul Nash.
Yes.
Yes, well, he comes to our networking sometimes.
Well, there you go.
Probably where you met him.
Do you know? Almost definitely. So, have you been to his Martello Towers?
I did. The FSB did a networking at his place on the week before last, I think.
Did you go?
Week. Yeah, and I went, and I tell you what, that it's amazing in there. It's so cool. It would make the best venue for a party, an event, because the walls are between 8 and 15 foot thick. So everything is very, music and noise is so contained. And then when you go outside, you're in the grounds. You're basically the grass and area outside is the bottom of what would have been the moat. So then you've got the big moat wall around the outside of it, so it would make a fantastic venue. And he's actually going to it is available for people to hire for things like that. But it's so quirky, it's brilliant, it is absolutely fab.
Shout out to Paul, by the way. He's a proper card. He's a proper gentleman. So.
Yes. If you're in the vicinity of Clacton, and you haven't been to Martello yet, it's Martello Tower. If you look for Paul Nash things to do in Clacton, you will find it. And it's beautiful. We had a gorgeous afternoon tea down there, and great meeting, great venue.
I wish I'd been there. I mean, the trouble is just so people understand it, I live in the middle of no flipping where. So although I'm technically in Essex, which same as Nadine, I'm as far away from Nadine as one could possibly be while still being in Essex.
Whereabouts in Essex are you?
I'm on the border of Essex and Suffolk, in a tiny hamlet of 12 houses called New England.
Wow, it sounds like you live in America, New England.
I know this. I get this all the time. It's but it's got the greatest address in the world. 1 to 3 The Cottages, New England. What a cool address.
It's very cool.
Well, there's the reason why I bought the place. I thought if you think about it, it could either be a home or it could be a business. You wouldn't know from that what it is. And I quite like that feeling of slight can't say the word. Anonymity. There we got there.
I would love to live somewhere with a really cool name, although I couldn't live anywhere with like a name like there's a road in Colchester called Turkey Cock Lane. Like,
it's such a stupid name.
Like, why would you call any road after a penis? Basically, Turkey Cock Lane.
She said, and well, I don't know. I've not seen many turkey cocks. But
I know Turkey Cock Lane. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well,
what will you have next? Like, I don't know.
But Nadine, you know what they say? It's all right to have a turkey cock, as long as it gets a gobble. Is that too early? I don't think this is. I don't think that.
Never too early for a cock.
What about a turkey cock?
Oh my god! I've not tried a turkey cock, but I just think it's like It's really weird. I just don't get why somebody would call a road that. Like,
Well, yeah, well, yes, I know, but Pratt's Bottom is my favourite.
Pratt's Bottom. Yeah, but I just couldn't live anywhere. I just couldn't live anywhere with a funny name, because I wouldn't be able to give my address properly, especially if I was pissed because I was going home on a night out and I had to tell a taxi driver where I lived.
Yes, just take me to Turkey Cock.
I mean, it looks like quite a nice road, to be fair, with some nice houses on. But
Yeah.
I'm not slating Turkey Cock at
No,
all.
don't take the cock.
It looks quite nice.
Yeah, lovely, wonderful.
I just don't want it for myself.
Well, or maybe you do. Yes. So what have you got? Okay, let's talk to more interesting things. What's happening for you this weekend, Nadine? Have you got anything coming up?
I haven't got anything exciting going on. I will probably. I'm actually having a fight with my sewing machine at the moment because I can't get it to work right, and I'm halfway through making a bag, and it won't. It's just not stitching right, which is really annoying. So I'm probably going to try to fathom out what's going on with that.
You need to talk to it nicely, Nadine. You need to talk to it nicely.
Done everything, and I've turned it off, on and off, and off and on and on and off. And
you turn it off and on again, have you? It's the so-called Microsoft solution.
Yeah, even that didn't work. So now I don't know what to do.
No,
but no, I don't have anything planned. I'm quite I like to be a bit spontaneous, really, and just do whatever takes my fancy.
Oh,
I know. I'm like that. Do you know what? I've got something spontaneous planned. That sounds. I've got.
I will be spontaneous between 9:30 and 10. Okay.
Yeah, and it says I'm planning to do something really spontaneous for my birthday.
Well, okay, so basically you're just going to do something random.
So what I want to do is just pack a small case, rock up at the airport, and just pick a flight.
Well,
just pick whatever's coming next, and just go. And basically just rock up at the airport with no plan whatsoever, nowhere to stay, no agenda, and just go wherever it takes for fancy, make it up as I go along.
It sounds amazing. Are you going to go by yourself?
No, I'm going to go with my
problem. This is a problem with spontaneity. It's being spontaneous for one is fine. Being spontaneous for one plus becomes more difficult.
Well, no. I mean, it's fine.
Can you take your fancy man with you?
Yes, he's totally up for it as well. So
whoa,
and the spontaneity of the planned event.
It's down to that again.
But now I like to be. I don't really have a plan for the weekend most of the time. Yeah, I just kind of make it up as I go along and do whatever takes my fancy.
Well, I think my wife has got something funky planned for the weekend for herself, and I've got so
you're left to your own devices.
Well, not exactly. I'm going to be doing a rehearsal with my band. My band's called Encrypted Love. If anybody's interested in hearing our stuff, encryptedlove.co.uk. Do check them up. And I think I've got a booking for me in London on Saturday evening. So I'll be playing as myself, my alter ego, DJ Bongo, at your service. And we'll be playing Up a Storm. I think I'm going to be playing up all Ibiza classics. So it's hands in the air like you just don't care.
Oh, I like the sound of that. That's right up my street. Nice.
Well, what I'd like to do is get bookings more in Essex, but I've had a couple, but not that many. I would like to get more. Most of my bookings, because for so many years, all my bookings have been around London and the southeast. Right. They tend to be around there, but we'll see what happens. I would like to over time get more and more.
Yeah. Well, have a word with Paul about when he's got to do people wanting events on at the Martello, and then you know, might be able to book you.
Well, the thing is, often these people come to him with a ready-made ideas about what they want and who they want and so on. But yeah, of course. I mean, I've got a big shout out to Paul. Actually, he if you work with him, will get you page 1 of LinkedIn with little fuss or bother. It's very impressive.
Yeah, he's a decent guy. Is Paul?
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
So
very good. So, how are we doing for time? Oh my god, our half an hour chat is
sorry about that.
37 so far.
Well, yeah, but you know that's how it works, isn't it? I'm afraid
I know.
you and I get
I
naturally, and
didn't
it's
even
just
tell you what we talked about, apart from turkey cock.
and a bit of mushrooms. But,
Yeah.
but then they always say the mushroom head and the turkey cock. Anyway, moving on. I love making Nadine laugh. It's the best.
Oh my word!
Sorry, guys,
Right.
if you were thinking this was going to be plain sailing, it ain't. It's usually blue at some point. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. You know. Well, you know, we are what we are.
We certainly am.
Yeah. So anyway, have you got any LinkedIn tips for us today, Gareth?
Yes, I do. Now,
What LinkedIn tips do you have?
it's more about construction of the ideal post. So we want our posts to be most viewed by people. And the biggest problem we've got is often people put the posts out there, and on average, people are getting what 5 or 6 likes and comments, maybe 1 or 2 comments, but usually pretty much that's where it sits. Maybe you'll get up to 15 or 20. What we really want is 60 to 100 comments. We want 40 or 50 likes and comment. And what we want is a reshare. The share is the golden child, that somebody will reshare it and take effectively promote it to a wider audience. And the ideal is if that reshare comes from someone in your second level on LinkedIn, that's it. That is what you're looking for.
Okay.
So I've just got to sort my nose out. Right. So how do we achieve this? Well, you've got to realize how it works. When you post anything on LinkedIn, you've got a 2-hour window. And within that 2-hour window, you need to have a certain number of reactions and a certain number of comments, ideally from the people you've tagged in. So if you tag in people, first tip is don't tag in the entire Western Hemisphere into your post. Tag just a few people that you know will respond. And if you feel that you must tag everybody else in, tag the rest of them in the comment. First comment. Second tip, when you're writing the post, the first and second lines are more important than the rest. So the first line is the one that's going to drag the eye, because LinkedIn has a habit of placing the words more halfway across just after the second line. And because humans work by the least effort principle, they ain't going to click on that more unless you give them a real reason to do so.
Yeah.
So here's a classic one. First line, naked ladies, naked ladies, naked ladies. And the second line in brackets, under their clothes. Now, what you've done is, because you've had that reaction, you've probably bought just enough oomph that you want to click on and find out what it's really about.
Yep.
So, in a way, the first line has got to be the big blah like that. Like for instance, here's another one. Send them back where they came from. And then the second line, people who've got on the wrong train. Do you see what I'm doing?
Yes.
You're
I
trying to
see what you're doing.
So the first line grabs the attention, the second line ameliorates it by watering it down, and you can use this on a more serious note. So you could say the first line is, "We're all gonna die unless we do something to help the environment."
Yeah.
All right. So the whole point about it is you need to grab that attention. I'm not even joking. The first line and the second line are more important than anything else you've got to read. If they don't click on that more button, they're never going to read it. So you've got to make sure that it's really right in front of them. So that's the
Yeah,
first thing.
because people spend a long time writing posts, and creating, coming up with things to, content
10
and
or so paragraphs, cleverly
yeah,
chosen photos. And if they don't actually click on it to open it or go read the rest of it, it's all for nothing.
yeah,
Next thing, if you're going to choose a photo, make sure it's something that instantly is recognizable as whatever it is you want it to be. People put a lot of obscure photos on there. You've either got to go complete abstract, so it's nothing to do with what does, it's just setting the mood. So it
yeah,
might be it's a mellow sort of thing, and then you say, "Are you feeling calm this Friday?" Because you know, or make it absolutely pointed, but nothing in between. If I have to join the dots to try and work out what it is you're talking about, you'll have lost me. So people have no time. Don't make them work for it. And then make sure that every paragraph in it, I reckon, is about 5 or 6 lines long. People get bored after a certain amount of time.
yeah.
Make sure that the last line of each paragraph somehow once again grabs the attention and makes you want to read the next paragraph. That way you end up with the equivalent of a page turner. Lastly, make sure you end up with a positive conclusion. So even if you start off the post like, I've got no money, I'm about to be evicted, everything's going wrong for me. By the end of it, you need to say, but I have a plan. If you put in a post that is just mawkish or just depressing, then you'll end up with people just not wanting to comment on it. Or if they comment on it, it'll be poor you, poor you. And I don't think that pity really goes that far. I think what you really want to do is make people rejoice that you have a plan in the face of calamity, or that you have a direction and a process. These are the things that can be celebrated. Now, never use more than 4 or 5 hashtags. I've seen people go crazy with a different hashtag on a different line. Please don't do that. Please pick hashtags, one of which should be where the vast majority of your ideal client avatars live in. So, for instance, if you're dealing with a marketing agency, hashtag digital marketing probably is a good one for you. If you're dealing with coaching, hashtag coaching probably is good for you. Try and pick one that's relevant, and I'd say put one hashtag in there that totally made up that's to do with you, and put that hashtag on everything. And gradually over time, you'll build your tribe around it. Now, last tip is always ask a question at the end of your post. Always. Even if the question is, how does this make you feel? And then afterwards say, tell me in the comments. The vast majority of initial interactions come from comments, even before you even are connected to the person. If you've interacted with them there, it's much easier to then say, let's hook up. Or then you send them a connection request and they go, yeah. And you say within the connection request, I was writing comments on your what's it post. Immediately they hook you up with that sense that they already know a little bit about you, and it starts your relationship a little bit further along than some random has decided to connect to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
So that's today's tip on the construction of posts. Remember, you've got to make sure that people remember you for the right reasons, and that can often be just the way in which you present yourself, not just a silly hat and a stupid bow tie.
Yeah, because and you were saying about it might be a bad situation or something,
Yeah.
but there's always a positive. There's always good to come out of it, which obviously you've had experience of yourself recently, haven't you?
I have. I was in a. I found myself in a poisonous relationship that was getting more and more toxic, and I decided to move away from that. And I'm not celebrating how brilliant I was to do so. It just had to be done because it was not helping my mental health. It was starting to affect people around me. I was always morose. I was never looking forward to bouncing out of bed on a Monday morning. And now I am free. I feel like I've escaped a kind of virtual prison, possibly of my own making. I mean, if you think you're always going to be bullied and you're always going to be attacked, then you probably are doing it to yourself in some ways. But what I did was I did that thing that I think everybody should want to do. And if they don't, they should do it, which is somehow take control of their life. Don't let their life take control of them. And it sounds very trite and easy to say so. It took me months to work up the courage of my convictions to do so. But I think, I mean, it's only what, the first or second week since I've been out of prison, as it were. It's early stages, but would you say I'm a more bouncy person now?
Yeah, I mean, I know from obviously our conversations that, you know, the relationship that you had was causing you, you know, a lot of heartache, really, because it's, you know, and a lot of stress and upset and concern, and, you know, to remove that from your life is not easy.
But the thing is, you've got to understand, and if I've learned anything from this, is you cannot negotiate with a narcissist. If they firmly believe a position, that's the only position there is. There's nothing else. And so you, at some point, I think, unless there's a sea change in them, unless they suddenly realize where it's going and pull back from the brink, I think that's the only way, because it ends up just with you effectively constantly dodging the slings and arrows while they reign over you, and it cannot continue that way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, narcissists are impossible to deal with, absolutely impossible, and will make you feel all sorts of things. You know, I've had my dealings with people like that, and yeah, it's a very difficult. They make it a very difficult situation to remove yourself from, because of how they make you feel.
Let me just quickly say, please, anyone watching this or anyone hearing these words, I don't want your pity. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. I took direct action. I've ended up in a better place. I'm happy. I'm really happy. And also, and this is perhaps a little deep for a Friday, but let me just say it. A person is a combination of all one's experiences, right? Everything that's gone, good, bad, indifferent, bad, ugly, and beautiful, everything that's happened has made me the person that you get along so well with. And so therefore I wouldn't negate any of it. It was all a learning experience. But sometimes you've got to understand the learning is completed and you're going to move on. And that's all that happened here. Nothing, no great drama, nobody died. It just literally, I've created a new entity and I'm rejoicing in that. But I think I do feel better. As I said to you just before we came on air, sometimes, you know, the sugar tastes sweeter when you've only been eating sour. and it does feel that way with me. I'm pleased to see that the people that I held dear, you being included, have stuck with me, have not doubted my purpose or direction, have not felt that I've let anyone down, and that makes me feel so buoyant. And
Good.
Well, it's true, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, and you're right, and you do learn from all of these things, and I personally think that you learn more from the shit stuff that goes on in life than you do if life's rosy all the time.
Well,
without.
Do you know why? I've thought this through myself, and the reason why is you don't change direction or rework processes or ideas if things are going fine. You just leave them alone, don't you? But when things go to shit, that's when you stop and take stock and rework things. So only time that change is affected is when you're going through crap. So you're quite right. You only really learn from stuff that makes you stop in your tracks.
Yeah, and it's unpleasant while you're going through it, and you think, why the fuck is this happening to me? Why do I have this to deal with?
And am I ever going to get out the other side of it?
But you always do, and I think when you are past it and you can look back, you can see the reasons why things may have happened. They can make sense of it all, and you can see what you've learned, and you can see, you know, the kind of place you're in within your life compared to where you were when you were going through it all. And
in a way,
makes sense.
I blame myself for it because I allowed it to happen. But then I give myself credence by knowing I may have allowed it to happen, but I was the architect of my escape. So therefore, I've redeemed myself in my own eyes.
The thing is, though, a narcissist is you know, that's their superpower, is making people feel that, you know, everything is their fault, but they lure you in, they make you feel safe and secure, and then they unleash their wrath and everything upon you, and you end up feeling like it is your fault and it is your making, but it's not. It's
gaslighting is their superpower.
Yeah, it's not that way at all. It is all on them, really. And the trouble is, a narcissist preys on people like us who are good, decent people, who are kind, who will do anything for anybody, and that's their ultimate prey, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, but karma will get whatever's left, and that's the way to it. I don't wish them any harm. All I wish them is self-realization. That they can see that before they do any more harm to anyone else. I'm got out intact. My whole family's intact. I've got great friends, and I've got good relationships, both business and otherwise. But it could have been. I've seen people reduced to rubble through that sort of treatment, and I'm saying to everyone, you don't have to take this shit anymore. You can stand up.
I was married to a narcissist, so I
didn't know.
Yeah, so I totally understand the situation, and narcissism was probably was not the worst trait that he had, believe it or not. That was the mildest trait of
but then I got off lucky. Then I got off lightly and lucky.
So yeah, I do empathize, and yeah, you know.
But this is a positive story. Look at us both.
Exactly.
You're happy in your relationship. You've got a great family. I'm happy in my new business. I've got a great team.
Exactly.
And we're both open for business and surging forward.
We are open for business, ready and willing and able.
Speak for yourself, love. No. I'm not that kind of boy.
Oh, I am that kind of girl. Right, we better wrap up, I suppose, because it's nearly 11 o'clock.
Good Lord. Time for lenses.
We just chat randomly. Well, hopefully, if anybody has been watching, you'll have picked up some LinkedIn tips and some positive stories about leaving toxic relationships as well, and knowing that everything.
Let me just say this: if anybody has any worries about the current energy crisis and the way that's going to affect your bills, at least if you haven't already, have a one-to-one with Nadine. She may be able to give you some good news. I don't know, but you'll only find out with a good chat.
Well, I can give people some good news because a new thing got launched this week where new customers get 100 quid.
Bloody hell.
I know.
Well, we could always do with an extra 100 quid.
I know, why? Who would turn down free money? So yeah.
And if anyone wants any more free LinkedIn tips or any advice, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm not hard to find. Gareth Wax. You'll find someone there wearing a silly hat and an even sillier bow tie. Just send me a message request and we'll connect up. And I will, by return, send you 21 free LinkedIn tips to just be going along with. And then if I can do any more help, please just tell me.
Awesome. And if you so Gareth is a member of the Wow Web Network and comes along to speed networking events. So, you know, and so you too could basically chat shit with me on a Friday morning and let people know about you and your business.
Would you like mushrooms?
just one of the member perks. So, you know, if you haven't come along to speed networking yet, you should do. Every Monday, midday, join the membership, get loads of free stuff, and come and chat shit on a Friday with me as well.
I have to say, Nadine's speed networking is weird, random, and most amusing. So Monday, it will ease you into your Monday.
Yes, it's a good way to start your Monday. Right, okay. Well, we will love you and leave you, and I've got to work out how I can stop the live video because I haven't used this before. Oh yeah, I've seen the button. I said I could be here all day and people would just see me wandering around doing random things. But I found the button now.
I couldn't work out how to stop it.
I found the button. I can turn it off. So have whatever you're up to, have a wonderful rest of your Friday, and have a fantabulous weekend.
Fantabulous weekend indeed.
Ciao.